Hello again, Taylor County. I'm Alex Renner with Unleashed Tiger, and here we are with George Abel running for the 49th District, and we're for part 2 of the video with George. George, thanks for coming back on the program.
Alex, thanks for having me back.
Great. Hey, let's go into something real quick, and I'll go a little bit on a soapbox or a diatribe, if you will. But again, we poll folks at home, and one of the things they were so clear about letting us know is that they're just continuing to lose confidence in the government. But for several reasons, but the main one that really keeps popping up is this partisan divide. And I liken it to my experiences in Iraq, where we were there. The Sunnis had been in charge. They were toppled. The Shia come, and they just grind the Sunnis down. And you know, you look historically in many of these countries for centuries, that's what they do to one another, back and forth. And there's some sentiment that that's happening on the state, certainly at the national level, but even on the state level. And so I guess what I would ask you is, first of all, is that something real? Is it perceived?
I'd say that's probably much of real reality.
So how will you add to the solution as opposed to be part of the problem?
You need to have unity, work together. You have the Republicans and the Democrats. You have to cross party lines at times and do what's best for the people. I've said it before. You have to look and keep the people in mind of what their needs are. And sometimes those things kind of get pushed to the side, and personal agenda things or personal conflicts with someone else that you have there come into place, and you battle another constituent because you're not voting for something because you don't like them, because they voted for something you didn't like. You have to work together. I look back and say, you have to have friends and make friends on both sides, and so that you don't have some of the issues you have down there now.
So, in addition to asking folks at home, we asked each of the candidates, you and your opponent, to give us one question that you'd like to ask. So, I'm going to start with yours first. What are your long-term plans to fix West Virginia Public Employees Insurance, PEIA?
Yeah, I think right now, they haven't come up with a solution to fix it long term. They've looked at some things, and they're kind of taking a little bit from here and a little bit from there. I think that we need this is my opinion, and I would like to see what the other delegates have to say, but I think we need a surcharge on gas and oil business. That's what I think I would propose. At the top, right now, on top of the surface, you see the gas and oil company coming up here. I'm in the transportation business, and you see a lot of out-of-state people coming up here in the gas and oil business, and they're dumping a lot of money into it, and they're paying some outrageous money for the drilling they're doing now, and they're putting pipelines all across this state, and these pipelines are going to pipe the gas out of West Virginia. I would like to see a surcharge on any gas that leaves West Virginia that goes to Georgia, South Carolina, and so forth, be a surcharge on that, so that money stays here in West Virginia and it helps West Virginia people. And my incentive for them not to have the surcharge would be if manufacturing moved to West Virginia and they used that fuel, there would be no surcharge. So that would hopefully attract business to come to West Virginia, because the fuel would be cheaper, it'd be less costly to run or manufacturing plant here compared to moving to North Carolina, South Carolina, and so forth, because you're going to have to pay that. You'd have to pay that surcharge on the fuel. Yeah, it makes sense, and that may lead to your opponent's question: is, do you plan to push for support for raising taxes, and if so, which ones and why? I'm not for raising taxes. A tax. I think a tax. As I mentioned earlier, you got a lot of people in this state that work minimum wage, and if you work 40 hours, you may make $400 a week. And the time you take out taxes out of that, you may bring home $320. And if you're a working mom or working father and have a child, if you're paying rent and a vehicle and car insurance, you can't do it on that. It's almost impossible. And I'm not for no taxes. I'm not for any kind of tax.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier about bringing manufacturing in, and one of the things that, again, another kind of sentiment that we try to pull out of what folks have been asking is, there's always a lot of interest. Let's bring this company in, let's bring that company in, and sure, we need some of that, but there's also folks here locally that are trying to grow their business, and I guess the question would be, what are you doing, or what would you do to create a context or an environment that's so rich that we have our own entrepreneurial work and we have our own companies starting up within our area?
I think you need infrastructure. I think you need the good roads. You need decent roads where you can travel in to this area to patronize those businesses. Some of these roads now are pretty rough. Potholes. When it rains, the ditches are overflowing and flooding the road area. In the wintertime, you got branches breaking down, coming down on the roads. Some of those things need to be fixed as far as the roads go. And far as patronizing the businesses that are here in the county, in the small businesses, I think you need more people coming into West Virginia, more people to come into Grafton. This building we're in here, the Mother's Day Shrine, it's the first birth of Mother's Day, and it's a beautiful building. I would love to see this building on Mother's Day have it it's a national holiday, I understand that, but I would love to see something here in Taylor County that really magnified this, where maybe someone came in from a mother of high importance, came in from maybe a president's wife, a former president's wife, someone coming and say, hey, I'm here, it's Mother's Day, because Mother's is important, and Grafton is a great town, a great city, and I think something like this here would bring attraction of people into the town. We got the small businesses here, but I think you need, and people will come and patronize those businesses, but you also need something else for the people to do when they come here, and right at the present time, there's not a whole lot of those things here in Taylor County. While I was out talking to some people too, they need something for the kids, and they need a go-kart track or motorcycle track or four-wheeler track. And I thought, well, but that might not be a bad idea. It's something that the kids can do here, something the parents can go do with their kids. So, but there's a lot of options out there, but you have to attract people to the area to support those businesses, I think. The people here that live in the town do support those businesses, but you also have Fairmont, Clarksburg, and Morgantown you're competing with, and they're so much closer, because of the interstate. It's tough. It's tough to support a local business unless you have people right here in the area that unless it's a specialty item too,
Sure. So, we'd be here days if we covered every issue that was important that's going on in our area. So I ask, if people want to get a hold of you or get in touch with you or understand how you feel about a certain issue or whatever, how can they reach out to you?
Email me. They can email me at gabel@wsthomas.com, or they can call me at 304-816-7272.
What haven't we discussed today that you'd like to make sure we cover while we're together?
I would just say the great state of West Virginia. I know we've mentioned a little bit about the people. There's great people in this state. It's a state that you hear a lot of bad things about at times. We're 49th in this, we're 50th in this. A lot of the bad things kind of get pointed toward West Virginia. And some of those things may be true statistic-wise, but there's a lot of good people in this state, a lot of good people in this county, a lot of good, hard-working people in this county. And Alex, I've seen what you've done here with Unleashed Tiger, and that's great. You're promoting the area, and that's great. And we just need more people to get them. I think we need more people getting involved in things.
Gotcha.
Some people, they sit back and don't say anything, but it's better if you come and voice your opinion to somebody and say something, because someone will listen to you, and maybe you'll get something done.
Yeah, It's interesting, and some of that kind of leads to my next question. Before we close out of here,
Sure.
As kind of a last question, I'd ask, what is your West Virginia superpower? And what I mean by that is, to your point, we're always constantly derided by folks outside, and I don't mean to overly negative. There's a lot of people who have a lot of affinity for West Virginia, but we're told that we're either too poor or too stupid or too unhealthy or too unhappy or too whatever to be able to become anything real. And so, I've seen the opposite. I've seen things that were instilled in me as a youth here in this area that I have just used to slay the market. And I would ask you, what is your West Virginia superpower?
Well, I tell you what, I love the state. I love the people. I love the area. It's beautiful. You go to the beach, it's pretty. Go out west, the lands are flat. You got the mountains here, beautiful. My superpower, I think, is this is home to me. I worked here in the area for 38 years. I've had a chance to leave the state and go work elsewhere. This is home. My mom lives here. My children live in West Virginia. They work here in West Virginia. They all have jobs. They all work hard. It's home, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. I would not want to be anywhere else. And I guess you kind of feed off the people here in West Virginia. They're good-hearted people. They're honest people, and that makes you feel good to be part of that, Alex.
Great. All right. George Abel, 49th District for the House. Thanks for coming on the program, and good luck.
Alex, thank you for having me. Thank you.
Right.